Yo, what's up? What's up? It's Lord Mav over here doing this real nigga podcast, representing the Black Moon Pack, of course. What I'm supposed to do. Ain't nothing else to do out here. So I'm over here doing this next thing, and we talking about GAIA Seek the Truth. So I'm gonna set it up. 1, 2, 3. So we was out here watching the video on YouTube, cause that's my favorite platform to watch videos on. And what happened? A GAIA Seek the Truth ad came on. So I'm like, what the hell is this? But the first thing they did was they was like, hey Josh, I mean my bad, hey Lord Mav, guess what? Humans, they not humans. So they said that and I was like, wow, that's bugged out. So they already know, they know what I'm interested in. So they was like, basically they was on some like some humans, some fossils or some records that they found with certain human beings, they anatomy isn't as a normal human being should be. So of course, you know me. I'm on my biblical, this, that Nephilim shit. I already know what it is. But with science, they try to ignore these things for a while. And then it's like, well, we can't ignore it no more. Let's try to provide a bullshit explanation that's going to lead niggas the wrong way. So that's what they doing. That's what I think. So I tried to find some information on this Gaia Seek the Truth. But it was hard. I guess they got their information on lockdown because it was one ad. No, not one ad. It was one video on YouTube where it was like just talking about the earth, kinda. So I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I couldn't find no other information on YouTube about it. So I just went to their website and I was about to try to watch a video, but then you gotta sign up to watch the video. So, I was gonna do it, but I'm like, I don't really believe in these niggas, to that extent to be signing up for some shit. I already signed up for Trump, just to give him some fake support. But these niggas sending me emails. I don't want no more emails from shit I don't believe in. So that's why I'm not going to look into it. But that's their fault, because if they really believed in some shit, they should give some information for free. Shouldn't be some, I don't even know. It's probably some free shit. I just didn't want to sign up. Fuck it. Fuck guys seek the truth. But anyway, we out here talking about these niggas because they trying to lead niggas the wrong way. So, from what I found through my first research, excuse me, through YouTube was they trying to research the stars and the planets and try to find like information from that. The big thing about the Big Bang Theory is like, you get the bang, boom, and then you get the heat and you get the shit that makes the stars. But, with the heliocentric model, the star is the thing that's in the center, which means that will be the first thing created because everything else is spinning around it if you're thinking about factoring in all the shit that they tell you with gravity and like mass and all of that, then if you believe in that, it's like the sun or the star would have to be made first and the planets would have to kind of revolve around that. So if you're looking for life in the universe other than the earth that we live on, you should be looking for something that has a sun like ours because that's, the basis if we believe in the heliocentric model. So that's what they talking about on the surface. But then, even in the video I was watching, you see that they kind of believe in some other shit. So it seems from the background stuff that they want you to believe in kind of like earth worship, like worship the earth, worship the planets, worship the stars. And that's what science does. It's not like the same as just looking at these things. They want you to look at it and say, this is your source of being a person. Without this being this, you wouldn't be here. And, this shit was all by chance. So you should really give thanks to the earth and the planets for existing, instead of giving, thanks to whatever God you want to believe in. I ain't going to get too specific right now. So aside from that, they want you to believe in aliens too, of course. If you ever watch Ancient Aliens, you see how they go and they talk about some of these like the pyramids and stuff like that and blame it all on aliens. People couldn't have did it. But, we already got these stories about these things, so it's crazy. But everything I just said, that's what they want you to believe in. And if you look at their videos, you can see that. So I was watching a preview because that's the only thing I gave them. And I watched like a couple minutes of a video on YouTube. And both things, they was talking about like you know how they got creation myths, like you got the Greek myth and the Roman myth, the Roman gods and the Greek gods. You know, like you got African shit. Like it's mad different stories about the creation. But from my perspective of what I believe, all of that shit is just different stories of different Nephilim trying to put theyself in the position of God, you know, get some power for themselves. They create a story about the creation, which is always pretty much just the story of the creation we get from the Bible. Is just something else put into it, some more fantastical shit. You know, like niggas had sex. You know, we had sex. The sky had sex with the earth, and that's how everything came to be. You know, and it's like I know they not. They. This is the crazy thing. They talking about this because they believe in it, right? But they gonna kick it to you like, hey, this is just a story I'm telling for you to more easily understand what's going on, you know. But then we look at what the Bible say with the creation of the earth, and it's the exact same thing. Nigga said it was lava on earth. It was all fire. Everything on earth was fire. This is what the how the fuck does the Bible know that? Even if the Bible was made 6,000 years ago when we wasn't, you know, excuse me, saying the shit was made thousands of years ago and believing in science that the earth is millions of years. Like, if this shit was made not so long ago in the history of the world, then how the fuck would anybody who wrote the Bible know what was happening, you know, millions of years ago? But we ain't gonna look at that as knowledge, but we gonna talk about this nigga in the video was talking about. I didn't even know he had. This is a crazy thing because he switched so fast from the factual shit he was trying to talk about. I don't believe in it, so I won't call it factual, but I'm gonna call it factual so you understand. So he switched so quick from some factual shit to talking about how a spider set the webs of the earth or made the webs of the universe, and it put specific points everywhere, and it's like you can't just move straight over to fantastical stories from talking about what you say is real shit, because then we gonna lose it. It's like in our brains, you know, your brain can make a quick switch, but if you're not providing the information in the proper way, then our brain is going to take it all as the same stream of information. It's not going to be this is fact, this is fiction. It's going to be this is all fact or this is all fiction, you know? So it's like, why even bring these things up? The shit like what God say in the Bible, that's a lot more easy than saying, you know, nigga had sex, the earth had sex with the sky and they made babies with superpowers, you know? And then just a sidetrack, think about that. The earth has sex with the sky. What's the earth? Human beings. What's the sky? Godly things. Godly things came down and had sex with human beings. Nigga, the earth had sex with the sky. These niggas, everything that everybody else believe in is always just a story about what happened told from a different person. Like how they say, you know, the victor is the one that tells the story in history, you know? I was thinking about Paul Revere, and they called it like the fantastical American stories, like the shot heard around the world, and you had the midnight ride with Paul Revere, where these niggas, you know, it's like, oh, we couldn't get the message through. We had to ride all night to get the message through so we could. It's like, I don't think some of this shit happened, man. I think it's more like, hey, we beat them other niggas. We can't, you know, we won so good they can't come back and be like, nah, Paul Revere never did that shit. So they just now got stories, you know, and that's what I feel like it is with some of this shit. It's like Ra was probably a nigga on Earth, you know, Nephilim ass, powerful motherfucker that had something to do with some heat, you know. And then he was like, you know what, nigga, I should have the power. Nigga should be looking at me like I created shit. Because if you know the narrative, he did create his own type of people. You know, these Nephilim niggas, they birth their own children. So, and they children is not human beings, which means it's a new creation. So why not to them look at themselves as gods? Which is why you get these stories. So it's just crazy to me that they make these whole like comparisons between they science shit, and they would talk about the Greek gods, but they would never mention, you know, how they say the Hebrew God in the same sentence as some scientific shit, even though all of that goes in the same category technically. So another thing that I noticed was Gaia was the Greek name. Sorry, it was a Greek god. I forget what the hell. Oh, Gaia is the Earth. That's hilarious. So Gaia, in the story about the sky having sex with the Earth, I believe Gaia was the Earth in that narrative. So that already shows like what they after. So motherfucking like Earth worship niggas is worshiping the physical things around us. Even if the stars is real, you're not supposed to care about these shits to that degree. Where let's say all of this shit is possible, we could go into space. If the stars is supposed to be used to understand the passage of time, and you're not supposed to be worshiping shit, then why would you ever send some shit that's gonna take 20 years to go to, like, I can't even explain this shit properly. That's 20 years of your life or whoever's life that has been dedicated to something specific so much that you're going to make something, create your own thing to go find something about this thing. That's basically like worshiping some shit. You dedicating all your time to finding out more about this thing. That's worship. That's what you choose to put your faith into. You put your faith into the stars and then you send metal objects. I don't believe in that shit, but if that's what's happening, that's worshiping this shit. So it's like these niggas want you to worship the earth. So I don't know. I'm freestyling the rest of the shit right here. I did pretty good with that. So what I got right here says science ignores certain beliefs. For an example, you got the Egyptian pantheon. Then later on in history uses those things to explain the creation of the world in a time where their answers no longer add up. I basically said that shit in the beginning, but like that's what these niggas did, and they'll ignore shit like Anubis, man. Niggas will ignore that the whole Egyptian pantheon is mixed with animals and humans. And then the Bible will tell you, hey, motherfuckers was out here mixing DNAs with things and celestial beings having sex with terrestrial beings created some next level shit. And we say, hey, that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's possible, niggas didn't have the scientific knowledge back in the day to tinker with DNA. And then now we like, hey, I think it was some aliens on Earth a long time ago that was probably mixing DNA with things and manipulating stuff. And then it's like, oh, you know what? I believe in aliens my whole life. And it's like, this shit is crazy because it's the same thing, nigga. It's just one is more believable. And it's not even just from my perspective. If you look at everything around you, you got tales of godly shit. We got stories from the Bible that exist today or fucking prophecies that come true. Nigga, you ain't never seen an alien. I don't care how much covering up. What the fuck can the government do about something coming from outer space, my nigga? You ever seen a shooting star? It'll be the exact same thing. What the fuck are think about this. Why the aliens coming down here to cover themselves up so much? Like the whole thing is they got camouflage on they joint, right? On they ship, the UFO, and they can move at any speed, right? Why are they coming down and not showing themselves to nobody? So much fake videos, just like with the whole NASA planet thing. Nothing is real. You got a bunch of stories about shit, supposedly firsthand, but we ain't never seen no evidence. And then it's the whole like the whole like NASA. Oh, we got NASA, and then it's like, oh, well, what about Area 51? It's like, nigga, that's a government story, and we don't believe nothing that the government say. So why do we believe that a story got out about an alien, nigga? An alien touchdown? Like, the shit is retarded. All of this shit is retarded. You ain't never seen an alien, man. But these niggas will say, hey, the aliens came down and they made the pyramids. The pyramids is actually a charging station for the UFOs. What type of stupid shit? If these niggas is able to get from their planet to the Earth and they've been doing this shit for years and years or millions of years, why do they need to make a charging station? Or clearly they figured out they figured out intergalactic travel or some shit like that. Cause if we can't see them, then that means they gotta be in another galaxy at this point. So that means we talking about these niggas figuring out intergalactic travel but they're gonna waste time on making humans make a fucking pyramid on Earth to charge up their UFO. What kind of power? Like what these niggas? There's nothing that you could look at from. Of course, shit moves on energies, but we not talking about energies because we're talking about science. So now we talking about physical energy, which we don't believe in spiritual energy. That's what energy is when we talking about fucking like karma and shit like that. Like it's spiritual energy that goes out into the world. They talking about lithium battery type, lithium ion batteries. This is the type of shit they talking about. So what you talking about, like the sun is going to power up the UFO? Why do they need that? Like when you start thinking about why, that's why you got to ask questions for this shit. Like the Bible will give you the reasons why everything happened. This shit happened and this is why this happened. It all stems from one decision from a man who existed before us. Fuck how he got here, because this is our creation. His storyline ain't got shit to do with us. Or do I do have a story about that I was thinking about, but that shit don't matter to us. What matters is our storyline. So how the fuck did we get here? And they give us all the answers for that. Meanwhile, science come through like, hey, we got a bunch of thoughts. We don't know if any of this shit true, but I think it's pretty good. And you be like, yeah, man, this shit pretty good. Niggas give a whole round of applause and everybody retarded. So just to show you how they disdain. That's the word. Niggas, I couldn't find the word when I was writing it down. But these niggas have pure disdain for God, and you can see it in their face when they talk about it. So just to show the hypocrisy, you see what I said all through this. These niggas is talking about the Greek gods and all of that, but they never mention, the Hebrew gods. So, I was gonna say that the gods of Abraham. I could get it out. So, you got Richard Dawkins. This nigga be talking about a bunch of shit with science. I was watching him a while back. So he's being interviewed by Ben Stein. That's the dry eye Visine dude. And I think I explained this before, but he claims that divine creation is possible, but it would have to first come from evolution. So he's basically, he talks more about God. And if you want, look at that interview just to see how he, his opinion on the Hebrew God, to see like what he really feels, because he gets emotional about it at a certain point, and you see the disdain for the Lord behind his words, and it's like you can't take your fucking information from a person like that, because clearly he biased. You see, this nigga got a problem. He one of them niggas. Oh, God of the Bible is a genocidal maniac. The God of the New Testament might be all right, but, I don't know. And it's like, what are you talking about, man? That's because you ignoring all the facts. But then at the same time, niggas be like, yeah, I think probably aliens came down here and they made superhumans. And that's why we got giants. And it's like, come on, man. That's crazy. I'm on to my last two facts. So this is on some real shit right here. So the probability of Earth being created, they said it's in like the quintillions. I think that's how you pronounce that word, which means it surpasses a trillion. So if you play the lottery, you know how rare it is for a person to win. Which means that probability is a thing. We all know probability is a thing. Back in school, they would give you like a bag and the shit would have one red ball in it and fucking 10 blue balls, and it's like pull a ball out, pull a ball out, pull a ball out. And it's like, man, niggas getting blue balls. Why? Because there's more blue balls than it is red balls, of course, right? So if we translate this shit to the planets, we got, I'm gonna have to go through them because I don't fucking know. We got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. I think that's in order because I do ball and shit. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 planets. 8 planets, is more shit out there like what they call that shit, Pluto, but they say that's not planets no more. They call them shit dwarf planets now. So it's 8 planets, and only one of those planets have life on it. And these niggas have claimed to find, I know they claim to find other solar systems. I'm quite sure those solar systems exist in our galaxy, but even if they don't, the countless amount of solar systems they found, they can't find anything on it that would sustain life. now you have to go from the point of being from our knowledge point. Like if, because I take all information into account. Like there's some heavy shit I'm about to hit y'all with because I think about everything. It's not like I'm ever looking at the opposition like, oh, these niggas is stupid. I say they stupid, but I'm still looking at what they talking about. So if you got a solar system far away, it might be that we live in a place where this is the perfect conditions for us. Let's just say that. Let's say the planets that are made in our solar system only have a certain, let's say it's hard to say this shit. Let's say let's say we only have a certain amount of material. Let's say something happened in a different solar system that would cause different materials to be made. Different chemicals, different fucking atoms, whatever you want to say, different fucking properties. I forget the word for it. But if that happens, then it would be the concept of what made life here is not what's gonna make life over there. So if we looking for shit to look like Earth elsewhere, and that's the basis of how we gonna find life, then we might miss it. So if you look at that, then it's like, yeah, okay, but still, we can't find life anywhere nearby. You just can't find it. So it's like, and then you look at what the scientists say. If the scientists will tell you that the probability of there being another Earth is damn near immeasurable, then why would you believe that there's another Earth? Why would you not believe? They'll tell you this shit not special at all, and then tell you, nigga, this shit is motherfucking is is not gonna be made again. It's not special, but it's not gonna be made again based on odds. But hey, it's probably another one out there, and then they be like, hey, play the lotto, cause it's worth $1 billion, but you're probably not gonna win. But play it anyway. Like these niggas is retarded all the way around. But that's all I had to say, man. That's probability. That's one of the most important things. If you ever got time, go and look up the probability of Earth being created. Just Earth. Don't even go into another Earth. Look at the probability of Earth being created with all the crazy shit that's supposed to go down with the Big Bang. Because when you start thinking about the shit for real, mad specific things had to happen. If I can try to explain this shit just based off memory from when I was a kid, it's like the Big Bang had to happen, right? You got the singularity, which is something that can't be explained in the same way that we can't explain how God was there before everything, how he can't explain it, which I'm going to talk about that later probably. We can't explain the singularity because it just is. When we talk about it, it just is. It's the singularity is the first thing that happens. So we can't explain that because we have no frame of reference to explain the change. If you're explaining something, you kind of explaining the action of what was and what became, but you can't do that because it's the first thing. So fine, that's the singularity, whatever. Shit was created. So then shit was created, and the story is because with the what you call it, shit, the particle accelerator, it's supposed to be you kind of like colliding. I don't think it's atoms. It's particles. So that would have to be the smallest fucking thing we can measure to make up Earth, which crazy. The Bible talks about there being something like particles in the air which darkens the sky. It has its own light. It's not just the sun providing light. So check what these niggas is talking about. So they move in particles, which the God particle, which is probably fucking life itself when you think about it. Because the air has to be made up of something. And if the air is made up of something, then that means that encapsulates everything around us, being that's the thing that's constant everywhere except for fucking underwater. But, it's fucking oxygen in the water. So this shit would have to be the God particle. So you put that shit in something where it's able to crash into each other. And that's what makes the Big Bang. Everything comes out of that. But what comes out of that is what? More fucking atoms. So then those atoms have to keep those atoms have to keep fucking, because everything is made up of atoms and shit, right? So if I'm remembering right, if this is wrong, whatever. Don't take the information, nigga. But this is what I'm talking about because it's my podcast, so I don't give a fuck. So if you think about the atoms, they have to then combine, right? Which means they all have to combine in the right way to make whatever the fuck makeup a sun is, because everything has a specific makeup. If you put this with this and this and this, it's going to make this. That's how life works. So a sun had to be made, right? And then we talk about like the shit, because shit spins and gets hotter. But we not going to talk about that because that's just gas. But for gas to be made, just to give you the basis, for gas to be made, atoms had to first be there to make the gas. Those atoms had to come from the Big Bang, right? So now we skipping ahead. The sun is already here. The sun is spinning and moving around other atoms that have now turned into rocks. Those rocks are now spinning, and they spinning fast, and they clumping together now because of their speed and velocity and their proximity to each other. Keep in mind now, we also talking about gravity at some point was being added into this, because we talking about the mass of an object in space now has gravitational pull on other objects. So while the sun is where it's at, different rocks is different rocks is spinning around. We just gonna talk about the planets, right? 8 different rocks is excuse me, because some of the planets is not even planets, nigga. They gases. So if we gonna move from that, you got 4 different rocks spinning around each other, making more rocks around them and growing in size, while you also have 4 balls of gas somehow being trapped in the area, spinning around, also due to gravity, right? Because the gravity will be the thing that's keeping the shit in, that's keeping the gas in. There's no what you call it, the shit that's the shit that's outside the earth, the magnetic field. There's no magnetic fields, there's no atmospheres on anything. So how do you start keeping shit in? How do you have rocks that spin? I'm about to give you all the thoughts. How do you have rocks that spin? Because remember, you ever put a rock together with another rock and there was a hole in the middle to make something on it? You know what I mean? Because supposedly the magnetic field is made by the hot magma in the middle. But how do you get that situation just from spinning rocks? They hit each other, cool. They hit each other. But you have to think about the fact that the rock was the first thing. To get to the earth that we live on today, to get to what they say all the other planets is and the differences between all of these other planets, from a rock hitting another rock and being so hot that it combined, and then it kept spinning around and around until it made a magnet. There's no information in between that links the first thing they said with the second thing they said. There's nothing that links the beginning to what we have now, So I'm talking about just probability. How many specific things had to happen? The sun had to be there. The rocks had to form in the areas that they formed in, because when you think about gravity again, gravity is keeping everything in the place that it's in. Which means, if we think about the shit logically, if one of these planets was taken out, the balance would be thrown off for every other planet. Which means the Earth would become either too close or too far from the sun. Which means there would be no life there. It would be life on a different planet, or just going scientifically, it'd be a life on a different planet or no life at all in our solar system. So then we get past that happening. So everything cool happened with the planets. They all formed in their spot. The rocks did what they had to do to make either a ball of rock or a ball of gas. And then, right, shit from space was on Earth with the hot stuff. And that made life, supposedly. So then you got to think about how the Earth went from hot magma, because that's what we said it was, to water, son. Where did the water come from? Think about that shit. What the fuck is going on here? So let's take it back. I gotta take it back again because this shit is stupid. We have rocks. Y'all probably lost, but I don't even care because I know where I'm at. We have rocks. Now we just think about the earth. Rocks that hit each other, combined. They so hot that they melted together. You look up the melting point of a fucking rock. Think about how cold space is. Nothing makes sense. So It's cold in space, but these rocks is moving so fast that they hit each other and they melt and they meld themselves together. Cool. Then they spin around, and at some point an atmosphere is made, right? And they getting so big, the story would be the earth is getting so big, of course, that it starts to slow down. So as it's slowing down, it's cooling. So now the lava is making land. Yeah? So where's the water coming from, son? Where's the water coming from? Because a cloud has to be made. For a cloud to be made, right? Let's talk about this shit for real. If water is not on the earth already, because this is like take knowledge from everywhere. At some point, I asked my teacher in high school, how many H2O molecules would it take to get a drink of water? This is just shit that I think about. And she said it would be too many. It takes a whole bunch of H2O molecules just to make one drop of water that you could see. And it's like, wow. So if you factor that in, multiple H2O molecules had to come together because, it's hydrogen and oxygen. So that shit had to come together to make water. Not a drop of water. We're talking about millions of hydrogen and oxygen molecules had to be mixed in a natural setting to create oceans from a planet that was complete melted rock. How do you even get that? There's nothing that could come from outer space that's going to bring water with it, that's going to make water grow. Because guess what happens with water in hot places? It fucking evaporates and it turns into a cloud. Unless you don't have enough water, which is when droughts happen. So how did anything grow? None of this shit makes sense. Now, I wish this was a platform where a nigga could talk back. That's why I'm kind of thinking about, this shit got to evolve. I'm going to still do it on this, but this got to evolve because these is like important topics. And if I get niggas to listen and respond, it'll be something bigger, But just thinking about those things. So now we moving past that. Now we get to the water is here, right? Cool, the water is here. Now the water has things in it that grows other molecules that create life. That life grows and becomes different, basically like different species on the earth, because everything's supposed to come from the water. So then the new question is, what had to happen for things to come out of the water and turn into different stuff, Because evolution is not survival of whoever changes first. It's survival of who's already fit to survive in this situation or who adapts to the situation, right? But what can you do? You can't grow fins. We already know because I forget the other nigga, but you got Darwinism and the other one. The other one says if it's fruit high up, then the animal will stretch his neck and he'll become a giraffe. Something like that. So that he could get the fruit. The Darwinism says the giraffe is going to be the one that's going to live. Because the giraffe is better set to get the high fruit in that area. So that's the one that's going to live. The other thing is going to die out. Which means everything that came out the water had to be already in some way set to deal with something on the land. So then you got the new question, how does something that's living in the water get on land and change to being a land thing? Of course, we see shit like, shit that grow in the ocean can also grow on land, but that don't mean that's going to turn into a frog. Because that's not how things work. If that's how it worked, we would see that at this point. We would be able to put some of the smallest, living things, I forget what they call them, like shit like plankton, like phytoplankton. We'd be able to put some shit like that in a tube in the perfect fucking conditions. At this point, where we at with science, we should be able to do that, and at some point, it's gonna make a person. But that's not possible, because it's not possible. And we would say it'd take millions and billions of years. But do you understand the thought of evolution? To get everything we have today from one thing, what would have to happen? This would have to have babies, or whatever. It has to reproduce. It has to reproduce wow, some of their children is changing into this, some of their children is changing into this. And then it just keeps breaking off and breaking off and breaking off and breaking off and breaking off. But you have to have the constant, because for us to have what we have today, all of their children would have to be changing into, let's say I had 5 girls, 5 boys, with my first set of kids. All the boys turned into frogs, all the girls turned into butterflies, shit like that. And then I kept having more kids and more kids, and those kids turned into, all of 5 kids had kids. Like, shit like that is retarded, yo. Cause shit just don't change like that. Things don't change and we can't see it. We've never seen it. That's the thing. We've never seen it before. Through years and years, niggas been on this earth for what they say, like probably like a million years or some stupid shit like that. But we still ain't never, niggas got drawings everywhere. We still ain't seen, hey, niggas was like, hey, this was this before back in the day. Niggas will look at a drawing, right? We'll look at, except for the Egyptian pantheon, we know these niggas is talking about Nephilim. We'll look at paintings from a long time ago and it'll still be the same animal, son. You know what niggas was dealing with, the cavemen? What they had? Drawings of bears, my nigga. Why? Because bears was still on the earth a long ass time ago. You telling me everything. Think about the thought. Everything on the earth was constantly changing until humans got here. Think about that. Because everything that they say that changed, think about the fact that dinosaurs was here. You know what I'm saying? Think about we going back from shit being, how you call it, land creatures, no, water creatures to becoming land creatures. And then you got shit like dinosaurs coming, which means things have to get really big. And then the dinosaurs all get killed off. And then what, life start again? How does that happen? I got too many goddamn questions. I'm about to end this shit. So my last thing was, oh shit, you gotta go out of your way to believe aliens exist and are the cause for some of the things on Earth. And we have evidence like documents, written accounts, fossils, and giant skeletons. That's all the same. This shit is crazy with these niggas, man. The shit that they want you to believe in. I don't even really understand it, but at some point, I gotta write a book. It's Lord Mad, representing the Black Moon Pack. That was Real Nigga News segment, talking about mad, crazy topics. I hope y'all understand it in some form or fashion, because I know I was ranting. And that's all I got to say. Real shit on the way. Check out my YouTube. That's Lord Mav B.M.P. doing my own ads. And I'm out this bitch. Peace.